last months in the life of Manfred Seel from Schwalbach, Germany were very turbulent. In November 2013, he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. In 2014, his wife passed away, as did his childhood friend and business partner. His own health condition continued deteriorating, and just 9 months after his diagnosis, he died on August 26, 2014. At the time of his death, Manfred Seel was only 67 years old. But all the months and years, or maybe even decades before that, he had managed to keep a dark secret until the evening of September 10, 2014. His daughter organized her father's funeral. Afterwards, she had to clean out her parents' house. Her fiancé helped her go through her parents' belongings and sort them. Since 2008, Manfred had also rented a garage on Nordstrasse 5 in Schwalbach, a quiet town in the Taunus region. Inside were various items, but also 2 carefully locked blue plastic barrels. The fiancé of Manfred Seel's daughter opened one of them and found 2 human legs and a severed arm inside. After the shocking discovery, Manfred Seel's survivors immediately alerted the police. They also opened the second of the 2 blue barrels in the garage. It also contained body parts, which were identified as belonging to the same person. Despite the advanced state of decay, the corpse's fingerprints were still recognizable. The investigators found a match in the police database. It was Britta Simone Diallo, who was only 43 years old when she disappeared in autumn 2003, allegedly murdered by Manfred Seel. For all those years, his family, friends, and neighbors claimed to have no idea about his alleged crime. The police also never traced anything back to him. That was also because the murder woman had never been reported missing. Britta Diallo was said to have been homeless and addicted to alcohol. She was known to police for offenses against narcotics laws. That was the only way investigators were able to establish the identity of the woman at all. When she was found in Seel's garage in 2014, she must have been dead for about 11 years already. Investigators suspect Seel may have stored Diallo's corpse in a different location before renting the garage. For several years, he had access to a garden plot in Kronberg im Taunus. Investigators believe Britta was still alive when her murderer severed her arms and then her legs with a handsaw. Similar injuries were found during a house search in Seel's possession, sadistic films, and magazines. It cannot be ruled out that this media served as inspiration for his deeds. During a search of the garden plot Seel previously rented, police also found relevant violent magazines. And the police try to uncover Britta Diallo's fate as best they can. The homeless Britta Simone Diallo was said to have often spent time at the Frankfurt Central Station. There she worked as a street prostitute. And a kiosk owner who saw Britta pass by describes her as a sad figure. The 43-year-old woman was apparently always in a visibly poor condition, drunk and addicted to alcohol. A witness who no longer frequents the Frankfurt Station area clearly remembers seeing Manfred Seel there regularly from the mid-90s onwards. He is said to have paid for sex with Britta multiple times. At some point, she's no longer seen in Frankfurt. The witness herself claims to have gotten into Seel's car once, but he started assaulting her, so she got out again. When exactly Manfred Seel killed and dismembered Britta Diallo cannot be determined anymore. One of Britta's arms has never been found. Her body showed such brutal mutilations that police quickly assumed they were dealing with a serial killer. The special thing in this case, investigators aren't searching for the murderer, but rather his victims. Then the police pour over Manfred Seel's entire estate. Experts create a profile of the perpetrator and reopen unsolved murder cases. Acquaintances, friends, and family are shocked by the discovery in Seel's garage. He never struck anyone negatively. He was well integrated in the hometown and considered a friendly neighbor. Otherwise, the alleged serial killer's biography. The biography seems very normal at first. Manfred Seel was born in Kronberg im Taunus in 1946 and spent his childhood in Oberursel. He was an only child. At 15, he was confirmed. In Frankfurt, he graduated and completed an apprenticeship as a draftsman, followed by 2 years of military service. In 1973, he married his wife. From 1974 on, he first attended evening classes at a secondary school, then began studying art and social history. However, he never obtained a university degree. Seel worked in his trained profession and later founded a company together with his childhood friend Werner Lederer. They jointly organized transportation and housing. In 1979, Manfred Seel's daughter was born. The family of 3 lived in a single-family home owned by Seel's wife's family. He expanded the basement and often retreated there. A neighbor later stated in an interview that nobody was allowed into his basement, not even his wife. and sometimes he would yell there cholerically. And neither his wife nor daughter seemed to have known what exactly he was doing down there. Manfred traveled a lot, often taking his wife along. Together they visited several countries in Europe, Africa, as well as the USA, Thailand, and Vietnam. He was also musically talented and played in a band called Overall Jazz in his free time with friends. But the picture of the happy little family seems to only have been a facade. A friend of Seel's remembers that he regularly had sex with other women. He used an apartment rented from his business partner Werner Lederer for this purpose. In the 90s, he was also known to frequent Frankfurt's red light district. A neighbor claimed Seel once offered him to come along to watch women, but the neighbor stayed home while Seel drove off alone. He usually went there on Saturday evenings after nightfall. Diary entries from Manfred's wife show how unhappy she was in the marriage. Seel drank heavily and was in treatment for it in both 1994 and 1996. And when drunk, he would occasionally talk about what he called his perverse side to a friend, Much of it revolved around fantasies of violence and power, but the friend blamed it on Seel's alcoholism. He was also registered on at least 2 forums for people with violent and sadistic urges, but his internet use was mostly encrypted, so examining his computer data will take a long time. The photo development machine was found, but no pictures Seel produced with it. Possibly it was just a relic from his professional life. After 20 months of investigation, Hessian police turned to the public in May 2016. They hope this will provide information about Manfred Seel and any other victims. This could help better understand if he may have committed additional murders. After finding Britta Diallo's mutilated corpse, investigators are now going through numerous cold cases from Frankfurt and the surrounding area. Not just missing persons, but also murder cases are being re-examined. They focus in particular on cases matching Seel's offender profile. In an interview about the Seel case, criminal psychologist Lydia Benecki explained that first, the perpetrator gets aroused by the victim's pain, suffering, and humiliation. She further explained that committing such acts unnoticed by one's environment is rather typical for perpetrators who, on one hand, have extreme homicidal fantasies, yet on the other hand are able to lead an orderly life.